Hello, everybody. We are going to start our webinar for today. We are very pleased to do this webinar with our partner, Console Blue, our Romanian partner, Console Blue. So my name is Olivia. I'm working at Bonita Soft, and I'm actually responsible for managing our partners ecosystem and partner programs. I will have the pleasure today to be obviously with our partner, Console Blue, especially with the co-founders of Console Blue, which is Felix Enescu and Marianne Anganu, and as well with our Bonita BPM specialist, Antoine Mautier. So before we take a look at the agenda for today's webinar, let me remind you that actually, everybody is muted for you participants. So if you want to ask your questions, do not hesitate to use the question section within the control panel of GoToWebinar. Don't hesitate to mark as well your question in Romanian. Our partner Console Blue will be pleased to translate that in English for us. So let's take a look at the agenda for today. I will start with doing a brief introduction of Bonita Soft, whom we are as a company. Then our partner Console Blue will as well explain what are their specialties on the market and how they can assist you tomorrow within the frame of your IT projects. And then we will have together a demonstration of procurement-oriented processes. And we will finish this webinar with a question and answer moment. Again, you will be free to ask your questions either in English or in Romanian as you see fit. So let's start. Let me share with you some numbers to explain you who is Bonita Soft as a company. Basically, Bonita Soft, we have a long history in terms of product as we released in 2001 the open source version of Bonita BPM Suite. Since that time, we were pleased to actually attract a lot of attention in the market, both proven with the number of downloads of our product, more than 3 million as of today, with as well some investors that helped us to fuel our international growth. We've been as well gathering a large community of more than 120,000 members. And basically, in only 7 years, we've been able to address BPM project at more than 1,000 clients around the globe. Just a quick note here, we have in total 4 offices, 2 in France, 1 in Paris, where I'm actually located, 1 in Grenoble, where Antoine, our BPM specialist, is located. And we have as well 2 offices in the United States, 1 on the East Coast in New York and 1 on the West Coast in San Francisco. We are not outsourcing any part of our R&D, whereas we are talking about Bonita Community, our open source version, or Bonita BPM subscription, our professional versions. Everything is done in-house. So for the rest of the globe, we rely on our partners to respond to local demands, such as Console Blue, who's doing that in Romania. Here, let me share with you some logos of the companies that are currently around the globe using Bonita BPM. As you can see, we are lucky enough to have references and use cases in almost every sectors. Basically, as processes are everywhere, Bonita BPM as well is everywhere. So whereas we're talking about financial services, telco, education, as well public institutions such as ministries are using our technology. So there's a variety of use cases in which Bonita BPM has been used. So basically, what is Bonita BPM? Bonita BPM is a BPM-based application platform. So to create business-oriented application. Bonita BPM is a complete suite. You have in it a studio, the engine, the portal, and as well, sorry, a UI designer. So the entire bricks, the entire layers that will enable you to create your business application based on processes. And how did we end up basically delivering to the market Bonita BPM as it is today? It's because we observed several elements. First of all, elements which are what the business people, let's call it this way, people running businesses, are expecting from a business application based on processes. First of all, they are willing to have engaging application for end users. So basically, it means application that are echoing, that are reflecting the reality of the end user of the application on a daily basis. Really, the key to adoption of an application, it is that it's in line, fully in line with what the people are having as activities on a daily basis. The second element, which is very, very important for people driving business when it comes to their applications, is that they want to come back to the IT people. They want to be able to say, oh, I need this to change, and I need this to change rapidly. It can be either changes that are driven, that are motivated by internal aspect at the company, like, for example, the rules or validation of an invoice have changed, or the management team has changed, stuff like that. But it can be as well changes that are pushed, that are actually coming from the external factors of the company. So, for example, market regulations, competition that launch something new. So you want your application to be really echoing the reality of your market. And the third aspect linked to that is that the top management of a company, the business people, what they want is to stay ahead of their competition, to have a competitive advantage. So they need to be able to adapt their application based on what their market, their business, where it is going forward. So, in order to please the business people, at the end of the day, you need to give the right set of tooling to the developers that are concretely going to create the application. Therefore, at Bonita Soft, what we decided to put an emphasis on is actually three elements. First of all, the fact that the developers are getting the right graphic tooling. In Bonita BPM version 7, that was released last year, we introduced the UI designer, which is part of the BPM suite you can buy, and which is actually including the graphical elements, interfaces, creation of forms, widgets, and so on that you need to put in place a proper business application. The second aspect, which is very important for us, is the fact that, sure, when you get Bonita BPM, you have a set of native tooling, native features. But we want to keep the door open for you to be able to extend your code, to extend your programmation when it is required, and not necessarily being blocked in between quotation with us. If you want to do something which is not yet in the tool, you still have the possibility to enhance that, including your own code, extending the tool with your own code. And the third aspect, which is really important, and again, to be able to say to the business, yes, we can make changes rapidly. Within the tool, within the way we built our Bonita BPM suite, you have the granularity to make some changes on the fly while the application is running without having to redeploy the application. Again, whereas we are talking about changes that are motivated internally by the company itself or that are coming from your external ecosystem, you'll still be able to make those modifications on the fly and so make your application evolve correctly. So basically, today in the market, businesses, they're having two options when they want to build a business application. They can either do a custom application development. Sure, it can look appealing because you're starting from a blank page, so everything is possible, but in the reality, you are in front of long development cycle, and the maintenance afterwards, it's kind of complicated and costly. The other alternative for company will be to choose a verticalized, off-the-shelf solution. But here you'll be stuck with the elements that this verticalized application is covering. So if tomorrow you want to implement another type of processes or another type of application, this solution won't be able to answer your needs. So at Bonita Soft, what we wanted to do with Bonita BPM is basically to gather the best of both worlds with a complete BPM suite, including the studio, the portal, the engine, the UI designer, with the right set of native tooling, with the possibility to extend this tooling and include your own code when necessary, and at the end of the day, being able to make the changes that you want to do with an affordable cost and time period. So this is the concept that we call living application. If I were to do rapidly a zoom, first of all, we have an approach which is not, I would say, one-size-fit-all approach. Really, with the portal that we provide, you're not ending up having a generic portal. You can add your own tabs, your own menus, your own pages, your own navigation path, your own different profiles, administrators, process managers, depending on what you need your portal to be delivering as added values on a daily basis. So we are more on a white label approach than on a one-size-fit-all approach. Also, as I mentioned, within Bonita BPM Suite, you have a UI designer. This UI designer is really here to help you create 100% web apps. And you have inside the possibility to benefit from the widget that we provide you with already, or you can as well add your own custom widgets and enrich the application based on what you intend to do with it. Our UI designer, by the way, is based on AngularJS. And this freedom to add your stuff, we also have it when it comes to the integration with the existing information system at your client. So within Bonita BPM subscription, you have already a series of connectors available, native connectors available, but you have as well the possibility to create your own connectors. We have an editor to help you do that. There is as well the connectors that are available on our community. So basically, you are able, as long as the technology you want to connect with are as well having open doors in between quotation, you are able to integrate smoothly within your existing information system. You can even, for example, create your very own REST APIs. And as I mentioned, for the living concept of Bonita BPM, our goal is to enable you to modify everything very close to the process. So the process itself, the task related to those processes, the actors related to those processes, the connectors, the pages, the scripts, the look and feel, obviously. This granularity enables you to make sure that your application is really in line with your business in day one and can stay in line with your business in day 1 plus 3 months plus 1 year and so on. So the key benefits that we are targeting at Bonita Soft, and as well with the help of our partners such as Console Blue, is to deliver application faster, okay? But the go to production, I would say, is only one part of the equation. At the end of the day, as a client, what you expect is to have an application that you can maintain easily and for costs that are not totally crazy. So this is doable, notably thanks to our possibility of leaving application and make your modification on the fly. And as well, the key benefits we are targeting is to empower your user. Not solely them saying, yes, the screen is in line with what I expect to have in terms of application, but as well really take into consideration their feedback and make the application evolves accordingly. And at the end of the day, when you are orchestrating data with a BPM suite such as Bonita BPM, what you want to have is a concrete visibility, a concrete comprehension of how your business is functioning. So you have obviously native reports available within Bonita BPM. You can as well create your own. You can as well connect with with technologies you are using already. And the goal is to provide the key decision maker within the company with the right comprehension of what's happening for their business and take the right decision afterwards in order to make this business grow according to their objectives. So we are we are so actually into application based on processes that we created a book which is released this month in March. It's actually Aurélie, the famous IT publisher that publishing our book. It's going to be a book of 150, 160 pages, written, by the way, by Antoine Moutier also, who's doing the demonstration later on during that webinar. So if you are curious and want to shop it, you have the link here to see where you can find it. So before I'm going to pass the microphone to our partner, Console Blue, even though the objective of our webinar today is to provide you with some insight of how a BPM suite can be used within the frame of a procurement-oriented processes, keep in mind that with BPM switches such as Bonita BPM, you have the possibility to enlarge your application and to as well tackle other types of processes that your business is needed. It can be very critical processes such as, I don't know, client satisfaction, post-purchase relationship, but as well less critical but still very important processes such as human resources, invoice validation, onboarding or deboarding an employee. So on the screen here, you can see a series of examples of how Bonita BPM has been used for the implementation of processes. So it's going to be all on my end. And now I'm going to be pleased to pass the mic to Félix Enescu, who's the co-founder of Console Blue, so he can present you his company.
So first of all, thank you very much, everybody, for being here with us. Thank you, Olivia, for helping organizing this. So I would move very fast through this. Consult Blue is here to help you move forward your business faster and easier. We focus on two things. We are business process centered companies, and on one hand we help companies automate business processes to be able to run them faster with less headcount, with less overhead, with less paperwork, more efficiently. And second, to better analyze various processes, facts, figures from your own companies and be able to make faster decisions and better decisions. We are doing that respecting two basic principles. First of all, we are looking for the quick win. Nobody in our days want huge projects, large projects. We don't really build cathedrals, so to speak, anymore. And the second principle, same important, is we are looking for evolution, not revolution. So we are looking to optimize things, not to turn everything upside down, do engineering and some other complex things. So together with quick win approach and with evolution, we like to obtain results fast and deploy projects with a very fast return on investment. What we are specialized in, first of all, Bonita. We are the certified Bonita partner in Romania. Also for the reporting and analyzing and dashboarding, we are the only certified Microsoft Power BI partner in Romania, and we also use SharePoint in our projects. Typical processes we implement are like procurement, advance and reimbursement, management of lease contracts, the entire process from procurement to invoice approval, various types of contract management, various processes in controlling, even training management, and many others. What are our typical clients? Lots of companies here, from local Romanian companies to multinational. We work from companies like Microsoft, Oracle, to local companies like Covalact, Bell Profile, from IT to finance, and from pharma to food. This being said, I will pass the mic back to Olivia to actually move into the presentation and show you how we can actually improve the procurement processes very fast and easy using Bonita software.
Thank you very much, Felix. Thank you very much for this introduction of Console Blue. And effectively, now I'm going to be pleased to pass the microphone to Antoine, our Bonita BPM specialist, who's going to do a demonstration of Bonita BPM within the frame of procurement type of processes.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. So I'll demonstrate today how Bonita BPM can help you in optimizing your procurement process. And here I have a simple example, a basic one to demonstrate how we can handle procurement with Bonita BPM. So I will start with an overview of Bonita BPM solution. This solution include three main components. What you can see here is Bonita BPM Studio. This is our development environment. It's used by the business analyst and the developer as well. Usually the business analyst use this environment to modelize the process. As you can see here, we are using the business process modeling notation. This is a standard from the object management group. And so the business analyst will be able to define the step of the process. For here, for example, our user will submit a request for a quotation. Various supplier will provide some quotation, and we have a review step. And based on the selection of the supplier, we perform different actions. This development environment is also used by the developers. It will use it for two different main tasks. It will use it to connect the process with a third-party solution, like a database system, for example, or to send some emails. We'll see here, we'll also generate some PDF file out of a template and send them by email. So the developer can handle all this connectivity part. The developer will also use it to define web interface for the user to start the process or perform tasks in the process. We'll see here we have what we call the UI designer. This is a web-based component that lets you design a web form for the user. Here we have an overview of the procurement request made by the user. So the developer is, by drag and dropping some component on this whiteboard here, design the web interface, and you have a set of settings for various input fields that can be used to display process data or external data, and for user also to submit some data needed to run the process. So if I get back to my example here in the studio, This one is kind of basic, of course, just for the purpose of the demonstration, just to let you know that you can, of course, build much more complex diagram to suit your needs. So this one starts with this green circle here. This is the initiation of the process by our user. It will actually submit a procurement request with a selection of potential suppliers, and once our user submit this request, so using the web interface, it will actually initiate the process instance and process will start running. We have then, I will skip this one, this is the first task, is only a technical one, and I will move to this task complete quotation. So here, if we select, for example, 3 different suppliers, we want the 3 of them to complete a quotation. Actually, so we'll have multiple instances of this task, 1 for each suppliers, and this will be dynamic. If I select, for example, 5 different suppliers, I will have 5 instances of this task. So this is BPMN notation here. You have this little icon saying that we have multiple instances of the task. On the task also, what we do is we handle the dispatch of the task to the different user. We have a mechanism in Bonita BPM to associate task with user. It can be based on organization information, such as a group of users, or it can also be based on some process or external system information. For example, you might want to integrate with a system that will report a user capability to handle this task, who is a more appropriate user to deal with the task. So you can integrate with external system like that using our actor mapping solution. In these examples, I have a single user that will be able to perform all the tasks, just to make the demonstration easier to run. But as I said, you can use various organization information to handle the task association. Also, our solution can be integrated with LDAP or Active Directory server. So if you already have your organization in such server, it's quite easy without subscription edition to bring them into the solution and to keep them synchronized with Bonita BPM. As I said, we have this system of integration with a third-party solution. So, for example, here you have this little plug icon on the task, meaning that we have what we call a connectors defined on the task. You can see here I have 2 connectors configured when I'm entering this task. One actually will generate a PDF out of Jasper reports. So we use Jasper reporting tool here. Just to let you know, we are also compatible with Word template. We have a solution to use Microsoft Word templating to generate a new Word document with information of the process, and it can also be turned into a PDF file. So the first connector generates this PDF file, and the second one actually sends this PDF file by email. Next is so next thing I want to show you is on task also what you can do is you can configure some information about the task that will be used when you display the task list, for example, in our web user interface. So you can have dynamic name and description. But what is really useful is you can also, when you modelize a process, define the estimated duration of the task. So this way you can have different warning when the task is overdue, for example. You can highlight them in the Bonita BPM portal, the web portal. and you can also update eventually this estimated due date at runtime. Bonita BPM provides interface to control the process execution. We have this engine that is in charge of process execution, and it provides API, so developers have full control over the process execution and can make some live update. So now if I switch to the user interface, here, as I said, we have this generic portal. You can see here we have a task list with a pending task. I can as well list all the process that I can start. I can, for example, start the procurement process, but I also have a process to create a new supplier, to register a new supplier. I can have the list of process instance running on. It's the cases here. I have just one currently running. And on my case list here, I have access to information about what are the steps the case go through. So on this example, I didn't define such a form, but what I want to show you is here, if I switch to the administration view, and that's also available to other kind of users based on their privilege, but let me just find my cases here. Here I can view the case, the diagram of the process, and I can see where the process is right now. So you can see here I can display the legend, the label. This black one is for completed task instance, and you have green one for the one that are waiting. So we can see here that we get through all these steps. Here we have the little number 3 because we have 3 different providers that have been used in this process. And right now we are at this step of reviewing quotation. So it's really easy to monitor where your process is, what is the progress of your process, and if there is any complaint on a procurement that is not yet done, you can check easily here where it's waiting, and that's really a great help, combined with estimated duration of task to identify the bottleneck of process execution. So if this is this web interface, the portal is really focused on the process. You follow the task. You have user interface to start the process or to create a task. But what we built on top of Bonita is what we called application. So the target of this is to have an interface for the end user that is really oriented on the business, on the daily task you do, with kind of abstraction of the underlying process. So here, for example, you can see this interface list all the procurement requests that I've made. So far I have just one. Here I can select it. You see it's pending for review. I can check the content of this procurement request. You can see here we have the quotation available. It's right now pending for review. This is the status. If we have several one with this dashboard, we can check per status. And what I can do is I can as well create a new suppliers, for example. Here in this example, you can see I create 3 different suppliers. It's basically suppliers for a digital camera, but I can create a new one here. And actually creating a new supplier, what it will do is it will initiate this process to create the supplier. But let's give a try to start a new request. So here I click on this button to start a new request. Let's say that I want to buy a digital camera for marketing activity. So I will buy a digital camera for marketing, and I want to have it fast, have it soon. Okay, so I put a small description here. I can go through my list of suppliers in this tab here. I can select which one I want to send a request for a quotation. So let's select all of them, and then I click on this send request button. And here what it actually does is start a new process instance. And now I'm getting back to my list of requests, and you can see I have my new one here. And you see the dashboard is updated. We have now one request pending for review and one pending for quotation. So if I select my pending for quotation here, you can see that I have my list of supplier. You can see as well here I have directly embedded in my user interface the PDF file that was generated for my suppliers. So each of them will receive such a file by email. I can show you. So here you can see I'm in my Gmail inbox, and I received the 3 emails because I choose to have 3 different suppliers. But for all of them, I've set my my email address here to receive the notification. So if I open an email, you can see that I've attached the PDF file here to the email, the same one that I display in the Bonita BPM web application. And the email can be customized individually for each suppliers. You can see I'm for Olympus provider, the other one here is for Nikon, for example. So each email can have its own template, and each email will have its own version of the PDF file. Now if I get back to the portal here, I can check like in my cases list, so my running process, you can see that I have also access to archived one. But here, my running one, starting here, is I can check also this same overview diagram, and you can see in this one I'm on this complete quotation step, and that I currently have 3 instances pending. If I get back to my application interface here, I can complete the quotation, and each supplier will be able to propose a price. Let's just put some random value here, like a very good deal, and let's accept this request for quotation. Now it's loading again, and if I check here, you can see that among 3, one of them completes the quotation request, and you can see with a little tick here that he actually accepted. Now if I'm getting back to the following of the process, refresh this, you will see that among the 3 instances of the steps I used to have, now 1 will be done and there is 2 remaining. So you can really track what is going on for each process. It's just really helpful to check information about the process. You can also have detailed information about which tasks were done, when they have been done and by who. Also, you have interface to handle failed tasks. Here I don't have any, but let's imagine, for example, that your email server is down and you cannot send the email. So what will happen when you need to send the email for your suppliers? The task will actually be in failed state, but with this administration view, you can actually restart the task and make sure that the email is sent, and then the process execution will continue. So you have a really nice interface to track the execution of your process here. So now if I complete all quotation, you will see that the process can move forward. So let's reject the quotation for the others. Let's see, I'll get it back here and the list will be updated. Here you can see you have 32 cross, it's been rejected. And let's do it for the last one. Same, I will just reject it. And now you will see that the dashboard here will be updated. Now we only have pending for review quotation. I can select this one, and I can move to the review quotation and select supplier. So here what is really interesting to see is I'm using this web interface. I'm almost not aware of the existence of the underlying process, but what I'm actually doing is I'm moving this process forward. You see I've completed the quotation, now I'm reviewing them. So you are sure that you go through all the steps. So really the process helps to guarantee that you repeat the important task each time. But for the user, you have this nice interface and he almost doesn't notice that there is a process under it. So here we'll accept the selected quotation. You see I can just select it and click on the accept button, and this will finish the process. You can see I have now one that is completed, and if I check about the list of process cases here, I will have only one running here, and there was one moved to the archive status, where you can see I have already several for test, but the one that I've run is this one, and you can see all the path of task that have been taken by this process. So we have here a solution that lets you really track all the execution and performance of the task, really help you to monitor. And what is really great about this solution is it can be integrated in all your existing systems. So if you have already an invoicing system or all kind of solution, I don't know, for example, to track vacation of your employee, and you just want to assign tasks to people that are actually working, you can integrate it. This solution is really open, and it's really help all the monitoring phase to make sure that your procurement process goes smoothly, and you can really easily identify bottleneck. So that's it for my demonstration. If you have any question, just feel free to ask, and thanks a lot for your attention.